and I was going to hold my breath when I do the kick. For those of you with whom I'm not acquainted, I'm Ed Clark. I'm president of the Wildlife Center of Virginia, and I've got some of my colleagues here today. Miranda over here, Nadar is one of our veterinarians who actually helped make this bird well and has worked on it. And let's see, where's Mark? Is he? Well, somewhere around here. There's another, oh, there he is. Another of our veterinarians. Mark is a veterinarian who will be working with us. He is here from Spain, actually. So if you want to practice your Castilian Spanish as opposed to your Miami Spanish, please feel free to visit with Mark. He'll be here until, well, a little less than a year left. He's been with us not quite a month, I guess, about a month now. But and then there are one or more students floating around here someplace, so we're glad to have some of the team come along and share the fun. The bird that we are going to release today, we'll tell you a little bit about it, but to kind of fill in a little background, those of you who Rose here has been to 16 releases. She gets the credit for the most frequently on site, I think. So she's heard all this. If I miss anything, I'm sure she'll point it out to me as well. But the Wildlife Center, for those of you who don't know, and shame on you if you don't know, the Wildlife Center has been around almost 28 years. On October 3rd will be the observance of the 28th anniversary of the concept of the Wildlife Center. November 9th was the day we actually became incorporated, and it's hard to imagine that we've got staff members, several of whom are here, who weren't even born when we started the Wildlife Center. But nonetheless, it's now generation upon generation. Yeah, they're back there grinning smugly. But we've been around a long time. We've treated somewhere between 55 and 60,000 animals since we started. We've given education programs to somewhere around 1.6 million people, mostly kids. Of course, a lot of them now are children of children. And we are really making an impact worldwide. We are a teaching hospital. We're not a wildlife rehabilitation center. A lot of folks may not get the distinction. We do wildlife rehabilitation, but the real thrust of the Wildlife Center of Virginia is teaching. Our mission is, as a wildlife hospital, teaching the world to care about and care for wildlife and the environment. And that's not even a full sentence, literally. Teaching the world to care about and care for wildlife and the environment was a phrase over which we fought for about 4 months before we got all the words where we wanted them. And it conveys teaching is an ongoing process. It doesn't say teaches because you can teach today and teach sometime next week, and you can say, oh, this group teaches. But we are always teaching. Everything that we do includes an educational component. And two aspects of that: teaching people to care about, to care for. If you don't care about the animals and the wildlife and the habitat and the environment, you will not be motivated to care for it. So what we do when we release an animal like this today, now how many of you have seen a release before? Well, and so just conversely, how many the first time release? Okay, trust me.
Wow.
The birds don't always cooperate. Even the ones that don't are impressive. And so part of this is not only to let you share in the celebration of a success story, but to let you experience why these animals are so special to us. And we've got colleagues here from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, Division of Law Enforcement, and Fisheries Division, and these are people with whom we work very closely to protect these animals. We each have our own role. The Wildlife Center does a lot of support for Fish and Wildlife Service. I do a lot of work with their national office and the Department of Justice, testifying as an expert witness on eagles and what is an eagle worth when somebody takes it illegally or commits a crime that involves an eagle. And those are the ways in which our various roles complement one another. When we find something's wrong, we know we can call Dan and his team, and they are on the job. They are responsive, and they will investigate, and they will prosecute when that opportunity is there. So all of us have a role to play. Now, this particular bird is one that came in last year. Was found, actually the rescuers are where, oh, there we are, right here in front, from Eastern Shore. The bird, as I understand it, was found in the top of a bush or top of a tree, and you may recall, if those of you who have been to a lot of the releases here, we actually had an eagle one year. Throw him up this way, and he turned around and landed on the top of that with his wings up in the air and his feet dangling in free space, and I had to climb up on the inside of the boxwood and shake him out. We're going to move up a little further away from the boxwoods today. But eventually, they made the call to the Emergency Response Center on Eastern Shore. They dispatched one of our colleagues, Kathy Cummings, who's a wildlife rehabilitator over there. They captured the bird on December 27th and brought it to us 2 days later, on the 29th. When we got the bird, it was, of course, examined by our medical team, and it was found to have 2 fractures, radius and ulna in the forewing, probably from a collision, possibly from a fight with another eagle, but probably just a collision injury. Their bones are very fragile, even though the birds are very, very strong. Their wing bones are essentially hollow. They have sort of a honeycomb structure in there. And the fractures were such that surgery was required. They went in, performed the operation, the orthopedic reconstruction, inserted metal pins inside the hollow bones, and the wing was bandaged up. It was x-rayed the next day to be sure. Apparently the bird was a little fractious, to be sure that the placement of the pins had not been dislocated, and in fact the bird had damaged the surgical reconstruction, so a second surgery was needed. And I don't know, have you all seen this? Mm-hmm. This is news to me. I love to come to a Wildlife Center of Virginia activity and have somebody present me with a brochure about what I'm getting ready to do that I never heard about, while looking at a t-shirt that says Wildlife Center of Virginia that I've never seen before. Before we get to the rest of the story about, well, we're going to do a commercial break at this point. There are an awful lot of you here who are fans of the Wildlife Center, but relatively newfound fans of the Wildlife Center as a result of the Wildlife Center receiving the eagle chick that is now infamously known as Buddy, that was hatched down at the Norfolk Botanical Garden. Unfortunately, that nesting year, some of you all know the story. Please share it with others. How many of you know Buddy's story? All right, if you don't know Buddy's story, find one of these people and approach them with care and caution. Not normal people. They are very, very committed, shall we say, or should be committed. Some of them, but very, very only a few of you.
Give me a hug.
Seriously, the nest in the Norfolk Botanical Garden has a webcam on it. And there are people literally worldwide that are devoted to watching and learning and experiencing the activity that goes along with that nest. And a couple of years ago, it was nothing if not full of drama. The first set of eggs were broken. The second set of eggs were broken. The years going on. The pair fighting for their nest. And people hanging by their fingernails worldwide, waiting to see what's going to happen. Finally, the chick is born. And Buddy comes into the world, for all the world, looking like a perfect eagle chick. But because it was so late in the year at that point, mosquitoes were out. And one of them pecked him right on what they call the cere of his beak, which is right where the bridge of your nose is, where bone meets cartilage. There's a growth plate there. The eagle's beak is, the covering of the beak is very similar to your fingernail tissue. And just like the quick of your nail that causes the nail to grow constantly, the same is true for the beak. That mosquito carried a viral disease at that time called avian pox. And that caused a lesion. And I said, ask somebody else the story. Here I am telling you. I see money in my sleep.
We know.